KGB stopped me on the border. They searched my telephone, they questioned me, and I understood that we couldn't stay in Belarus more because of the threat of arrest or persecution.
Welcome to the Havel Channel. You started working as a lawyer in 1994. What was it that drew you to the profession of being a lawyer? Were you confident at that time that in Belarus there would be a rule of law?
As a matter of fact, I became a lawyer accidentally because when I studied at the university, I can't imagine whom to be. Maybe a judge, maybe prosecutor, maybe a lawyer. But after graduating at the university, I met so devoted and real lawyers that I became gradually eager to this profession. And of course, the 1990s were years when we believed in freedom and were waiting the freedom of our profession. And such impression we kept in the beginning, but then gradually this began to change.
When did you start taking a particular interest in human rights and human rights cases?
I think in 2005 or 2006, I began studying on human rights programs, and then I just became open-minded lawyer because I had never known before about human rights and international protection, international law. And since I think that my first case on human rights was the case about the death penalty that we then communicated to UN Human Rights Committee.
And you also represented Ales Bialyatsky, if I'm saying his name right. He was the first ever winner of the Václav Havel Human Rights Prize in 2013. What was his case? What did that involve? What were you doing in his particular case?
Frankly speaking, I didn't represent him in national courts. In 2011 or 2012, I represented him in Human Rights Committee, and I claimed violence of freedom of force association because he was convicted solely for his activities to finance his association Human Rights Center Vyasna.
And when you accepted him as a client, and also, for example, Viktar Babaryka, if I'm saying his name correctly, I guess in a sense you're going into battle with the regime in Belarus. What motivated you to kind of take on these high-risk clients?
I think the truth and human rights, justice, people eager justice, someone should give them a piece of justice.
Well, many people would agree with that, but many people themselves wouldn't take the risk of doing something like that. What drove you to put your own personal, everything, career on the line?
I think I didn't see on these cases as a risk. I'd rather saw them as a possibility to use my competence as a lawyer and to to impact human rights and rule of law in future Belarus, I think, because these cases are Belarusian law history.
At this year's conference, in honor of the laureate of the Václav Havel Human Rights Prize, you're going to present the film One of Us, which is mainly about the case of Sergei Tikhanovsky, who you represented. Could you please describe your work on his case?
I was Sergei Tikhanovsky's lawyer from the day of his arrest in May 2020 until October 2021, when I was disbarred. I was just forced off the case in the midst of the trial. And then I communicated his case to the UN mechanisms, including UN Human Rights Committee. And when our family was forced to leave Belarus, I decided that his case should be shown in a film, because all legal means I had already exhausted.
And tell us about the circumstances of you being forced out of your country. How did the state put that pressure on you?
I said that I was disbarred in October 2021. My husband, he is a lawyer too, but he was stripped of his license only in December 2022. And we decided to stay in Belarus as much, as long as possible. But I continued running educational human rights programs, and I went to Vilnius or Warsaw from time to time. And one time in June 2023, they stopped KGB servants maybe stopped me on the border. They searched my telephone, they questioned me, and I understand that we couldn't stay in Belarus more because of the threat of arrest or persecution.
And what is the situation like for lawyers in Belarus today? I understand like a lot of the profession have been stripped of their right to work as lawyers, like a quarter of all the lawyers or something. How do they live in these circumstances?
It's hardly to say, but the situation is awful. I think that the bar in Belarus is completely destroyed, and the right to defense too, because 6 or 7 lawyers are behind bars. 140 were stripped of their licenses, and others lives in an atmosphere of fear, just not to be disbarred. And the power keeps the Ministry of Justice at KGB.
So my next question is, can anything be realistically done to restore the legal profession as an independent institution? It sounds like not, if you describe the situation like this.
I think that when we will came to democratic state, legal profession can be restored easily, because the one thing that we should make and to create free, competent atmosphere, and I think that the bar will refresh itself, and we know how change the law on the bar and how change just self-government and self-regulating of the bar, and we'll have a chance, we'll do it.
But do, for example, young people want to be lawyers in Belarus today? It doesn't seem like a good career choice.
I think no. The law was changed, the law on the bar was changed, and they let young people just after graduating the university to come into the bar. But as far as I know, not many young lawyers want because they don't see just perspectives of this profession.
And is there anything that the international legal community or human rights groups could possibly do to help lawyers in Belarus?
I think so. Important legal community's support is very important for us, and we should prepare just the conditions and draft of laws by ourselves and with help of international expertise. But I'm afraid that we could do nothing for changing if the regime is. But we could to help those lawyers who are in exile, who are disbarred, and especially who are in prison. We should always keep their names in public eye.
And also you're imagining a day when things could improve and then there would be lawyers ready to work in this new democratic, free Belarus in the future.
I think it's a matter of time. We have a pool of lawyers who are involved in human rights activities. We have educational programs, methods, and I believe that we will manage.
This year, Sergei Tikhanovsky was released, so he didn't serve the full 19.5-year term that he received. Do you regard that as a positive sign for Belarus?
I think so, because we would like that all single person will be released from the prison, political prisoners, and the Sergei Tikhanovsky's release shows that it is possible. But I'm afraid that it is not so positive sign if the regime is continuing to continue repressions. They release 10 and arrest 20, for example.
Okay, 15 years from today, what will the situation be in your country, do you imagine?
I think, and I believe, and I can say that I'm sure that we or maybe our followers will live in free Belarus, because Belarus is the European country, and it is capable to build democratic society, I think, easily, in spite of the fact of that awful history.
Well, let's cross our fingers and hope that this happens. Good luck to you and good luck to the people of Belarus.
Thank you very much for your attention.
Cheers.
Thank you.